I'm not here to talk about professional illustration today, but I'm here to talk about the struggles of actually putting out work into the world. What is it like to be an artist, to be an illustrator, to be a graphic designer, to be a lettering artist, be it singing, be it making music? What is it like to be actually putting a part of yourself into the world and also not associating your self-worth with your work? When one has a desire, it beckons to be created. When a desire is implanted, it grows slowly until you can't ignore it. It takes shape, it births, comes out of the womb, and it has to see the light of the day. And if it doesn't, then how would it do its job of coming out into the world, of looking beautiful and inspiring everyone that looks at it? It's an endless cycle. The creation wished to be created, and therefore it was. Just like you have been thinking about that idea, you have been thinking about that personal project, you have been thinking about that brand you want to work with, you have been thinking about pressing that record button and making that video. I want to ask you, why haven't you been doing it and what is stopping you? Hi, my name is Sneha. I'm a professional illustrator based in London, and at some point I was a beginner too. I have worked with clients like Lush, Twitter, HarperCollins, HuffPost, The Guardian, and many more. To begin, let's put aside the idea of desires for a minute. What if the problem is that you don't think you're worthy of having those desires at all? You need to give yourself a chance. You need to not judge yourself so harshly. Would you be going back to your child self, to your 7-8-year-old self, and would you tell her or would you tell him that that drawing is not good enough? Would you go tell yourself that that dance you did in year 5 was pretty shit? You wouldn't, would you? And so do the adults not tell us anything. People don't judge us so harshly when we are younger. We don't judge ourselves so harshly when we are younger. So when does this all start? I feel like over time, the society conditions us to believe that we are not good enough. And especially with social media, we are bombarded with people who are doing great things. So we are conditioned to believe it more and more that we are not ready for something. You either have to be Van Gogh or not pick up that brush at all. So I have an exercise for you today. I need you to go to the closest stationery store that you have. It doesn't matter which one it is. You need to pick up the cheapest journal possible, cheapest papers. Pick your poison, pen, color, pastels, whatever you wish to, gouache, I don't know what you wish to experiment with. But make sure that it's cheap. I don't want you to give me excuses about not wasting your supplies because they were expensive. I did this exercise in 2019 where I picked a cheap journal. I think I might have it somewhere. I'm going to put in a video of it if I find it, but I bought this journal and I called it my crap book. Yep, I called it that. The only rule of having this notebook or this paper or this session that you maybe go through with yourself is that it's a judgment-free zone. There's no judgment involved in this time that you have with yourself. It's sacred for you. It's a practice. All of my mind dumps would go on it. All the rubbish, all the doodles, all the things that I would judge if I put it in my nice notebook would go on it. I think with time, you would become free. Your strokes would become free. And with that freedom, you would start to like those squiggly lines that you once hated. You would start to enjoy the process of being free and creating freely and finding beauty in those creations. And I think once you start to experiment this way, you would start to look at your work differently. And if you are not a visual artist, I want you to do the same practice, but maybe in a different way. If you're a musician, I want you to create a folder of judgment-free zone. And if you're a singer-songwriter, and if you're going on walks, I want you to start recording voice notes of what you feel like at that point. What are you coming up with? Everything has to be judgment-free. Did you know that Hilma af Klint didn't start painting until the age of 44? She didn't think that the world was ready for her work, but that's a different story. I think Van Gogh didn't start painting until he was 32, and he died at 37, so I think 32 was quite old. But that's not the point. I feel like we all think that we are too old for something, we are too old to experiment. But the truth is that even people who are 40, 50, 60 start with new things that they wish to do. So you are young enough to do whatever you wish to do now. I'm going to put up some of my old work if you want to see before I actually decided to become an illustrator. This is how my work looked like. I'm okay with the world seeing it because I am very proud of my growth. Well, do you know Grandma Moses is someone who started painting at 80? Yep, not old enough. Nobody can tell you that you can't be what you wish to be. Most of the times, it's us. We are our worst critics. And you'd be fine. If you think you don't like it, you can always say that you tried and it didn't work out. But at least you gave yourself a chance. At least that voice at the back of your head can now be quiet because you gave it a chance. Let it speak. Let it express because you are worthy. Quick story time. In my early 20s, when I was in uni going to design school, there was this professor who taught a subject I would not like to mention, but I really did not enjoy how he taught because I thought that he did not know anything about it. And in true neurodivergent fashion, I did not pay attention in class. That was observed and revenge was taken during jury. He decided to shred my work to pieces with his words. I had presented 2 projects which had illustration as a part of it. And who has a style in uni anyway? So I had 2 different styles presented in these 2 different projects because they had very different goals and different brands and completely different set. One was for branding and one was for UI and gaming. He decided to question the authenticity of me making it and basically said some really harsh words, calling it essentially rubbish. And in your early 20s, that would definitely affect somebody's self-worth. And it did for me as well. I am till date one of the most confident presenters of my work, but at that point, I was in utter disbelief. I was stunned to even go beyond that point and present my work. I was shocked, and I think for a few seconds I did not say anything. I tried not to cry. I tried to finish it to the best of my ability, but I think I got a C in that jury, and that was so heartbreaking because I'm gonna maybe put up some of that work from that semester. I'm not even sure if I still have it, but if I do, I'm gonna put it up here. It was later suggested to me by some other head professors that I should learn how to take criticism of my work. And at the time, I really thought that it is the right way to look at the situation. I allowed myself to move forward. But you know what? This incident left a big fat impression in my brain. It took me a really long time to get out of that mindset, to actually let myself create beautiful things and to actually send it to people that deserve to see it because I thought that I'm not worthy of it. I didn't even realize that it was this incident that blocked me. So I would say that awareness is key. Awareness is the beginning of this journey. So this brings us to exercise number 2 for this video. As I mentioned that awareness is key, I want you to sit in silence and be mindful of that fear that holds you back. I would go to the extent of saying that if it's possible, be friends with your fear. When I say be friends with your fear, I'm not saying get used to it in a negative way. Get used to having it, being friends with it, and still working with it. Make friends with it so that you're comfortable to notice it. Oh, you're here. Well, I guess I'll just let you stay. Learn to talk to it. Here you come. Creeping in again. Well, that's fine. Sometimes it's just trying to keep you safe from the things that have hurt you in the past. And to that part of you, your little self, your inner child, I want you to talk to it and make sure that she feels safe. She feels seen. Make sure that you talk to her and you tell her that you, at this age, at your current age, are there for her. Tell your younger self that you would not let her face this again and that you would protect her at all costs. And now that you're here, nothing bad will happen to her. And this brings us to exercise number 3 for this video. I used this technique to let go of all the emotions that I was holding on from the incident that I mentioned before with my professor in uni. No one, and I mean no one, is ever born with an inner critic. There is usually an incident that would trigger such a response. That passing comment by a parent, the comment by a teacher, things like that just stick to your mind when you're young. Honestly, a negative comment can actually mold your being at any given point of your living experience. It doesn't necessarily only affect you when you're younger. I want you to write a letter intended to the person who made you feel this way, who made you feel like you don't deserve it, who made you feel like you're not worthy of it. I want you to write a detailed letter to this person, explaining what it made you feel like, explaining what they did, explaining how it was so wrong, explaining the things that you would have done differently. I want you to say those things out loud as a written part of the letter. What would you have said? What would you have done? How would things be different? I want you to spill it all out in this letter. I don't care how long it is, but I want it to be detailed. Yell in it if you want to, draw in it if you want to, scream in it if you want to, I don't know. But at the end of it, I want you to fold it up and burn it. I know it sounds silly, it might sound cliched, but it works. So trust the process and burn it. I'd like to explain the concept of this. As human beings, we are physical, we are material. We are in this world where things are tangible. So you gave your emotions a tangible feeling by writing it in the letter. And by burning it, you're making sure that that tangible thing doesn't exist anymore. Honor yourself, honor your desires, let yourself shine, give yourself a chance, let the world see what you're capable of. Let the world witness the magic that is within you. Let that magic come out and be a part of everybody else's existence. It will heal you. It will mold you. It will form you into the person that you are today, and let it be a part of your path. You are worthy of it. This is it for today. I am Snehashanker, and subscribe for more such videos. I'm going to come out here and motivate you as much as I can, because I've gone through this and I know how tough it is to be a creative in today's industry. Things are so competitive. So I'm here for you. If there's anything, write in a comment down below if you've tried any of these exercises and how did they make you feel? Did anything change? Would you like to make any more changes to your process? Was there something different that you did that was not mentioned here and it worked for you? I want you to put it there so that it could help anyone else who's trying to seek the same thing as you. Thank you so much, and I would see you soon. Bye.